Hey, what's happening, guys? Welcome back to the channel. This is an interview I did a bit back with Marko Zaror. He's been in a bunch of films, the From Dusk Till Dawn series, Undisputed 3, which is an awesome fighting action film. He's been a stunt double for The Rock. I really enjoyed this interview. It was really interesting. I hope you guys enjoy it also.
Hey, how are you guys? Excited to be here. Thank you for this invitation, man.
Thank you for accepting. Tremendous honor. I'm a huge fan. So Marco, the first question, how did you even get into martial arts? A lot of martial artists have different stories. Some were bullied as a kid, or but I want to know how you got into it.
Well, basically, my mother, was one of the first female women martial artist in Chile.
Mm-hmm.
Back in the day. She was a black belt in karate, Goyo Ryu.
Mm-hmm.
Goyo Ryu karate, and then she took me when I was a kid, just to with her when she was training, and so I was very I could barely walk, and I was in the dojo and all that. So
wow,
my connection with martial art has been very, very, very since I was born, actually.
mm-hmm.
But really, what triggered my whole craziness about martial arts and what made me realize that this was the path that I want to follow in this life was when I saw Enter the Dragon of Bruce Lee.
Wow.
And it would really it's like a before and after,
Mm-hmm.
and I was 8 years old or six or seven, I don't even remember, but it was so powerful, his energy, his charisma, that I just knew that that's what I want to follow. That's really what I want to become as a human being,
Mm-hmm.
and then it starts my quest as my trip, in this life with martial arts, all the time connected with that. And basically, back in the day, there was no YouTube, there was no access to a lot of information like today, so it was a very part of the time was just trying to find the movies or books, or it was very cool, it was I remember, I'm never going to forget, driving around and try to look for schools in my country that teach Kung Fu and blah, 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 so it's as a kid, how you want to mimic and imitate at the beginning. And before you really start evolving and understanding the whole thing, but it's when everything started.
That's amazing. Usually anybody who starts something at an early age, they usually turn out to be amazing at it. Like someone like Tiger Woods with golf, 4 years old, and you are so talented. You're such a talented martial artist. Before we got on air, for the people listening, I was telling Marco that I don't even think, I mean, he's a big star, but I don't think he even gets half the credit he deserves. And he's really, really blowing up right now. But you mentioned Bruce Lee, he was an inspiration for me also growing up. Van Damme, I got into jujitsu and mixed martial arts. I did that for 8 years. And I love martial arts also. I don't really train as much anymore. I don't really have time. I've been really busy with work and everything. But what do you love the most about being a martial artist?
It's funny, man, but for me, martial art is not just because you train. It's not because you do kicking or punching. It's just a way that you face life. It's just a way that you look at things. It's just a way that you face everything or any type of challenge you have in life. It's a way of thinking. It's a philosophy. It's how you can apply this way of being into your whole life, relationship, whatever you do. It's I see this because I've been going through many stages in my life where, it's maybe not about training, and it's not about, I always train. I never stop training. But what I'm saying, sometimes in my country, I develop my own supplement company, or I'm cooking now. I just switched my diet 1 year ago, and my life changed, and I'm very into cooking now, and I'm very excited about. So it's just finding the passion and finding being thankful of what you're doing, no matter what it is. I think that's what the most important thing that I kind of grab from my martial art experience and my martial art how do you say, philosophy, about being thankful, about understanding that all we have is right now. There's no future, there's no past. The only thing that it is right now, and we gotta learn how to be appreciated and how to enjoy it, and
living in the moment, huh?
Yeah. And I think that's the most thing that's the number one thing for me in martial arts, of what I've learned and what I was able to,
take out of it.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, that's awesome, Marco. That's an awesome philosophy and like mindset. And I agree with you. I think like all kids, should get into some kind of sport or martial arts. Like it teaches you so much, like discipline. And like for me, I applied it to like my life, as far as like not quitting. Because, like when you're sparring and you're put in a tough situation and you don't give up and push through. And I think that like translates to like life. So that's what I got out of it. So what have you trained in? How many different martial arts?
Yeah, I started when I was very young with karate. Then I did taekwondo. Then I switched to kung fu. I did many years, like a fighting style of kung fu. Not wushu, not the traditional wushu. So it was like more like a Wing Chun kind of fighting style of kung fu in Chile.
Did it have sparring?
Yeah, a lot of sparring. Awesome. So I was really into sparring when I, really into like, actually, I was so crazy that I was go with my bag, going to the schools and try a class, but really my objective was just to spar and to test myself with the different students. It was, it was funny. That's awesome. I was a kid, I was young, and I was like, damn, man, now I look at myself and I think I can imagine me when I was 16 walking into a school right now, and I'm like, man, I was crazy. I don't know how I didn't get
you don't know how you like survived.
Yeah, I was like, man, it's like crazy, but well. So yeah, I was, and then I went back to karate for a long time. Then I went back to taekwondo. When I was grown up already, like 18 years old. I was invited for the national team of taekwondo, so I did a big intense training there as a part of the team. And then I just moved to Mexico, and in Mexico I trained with a friend that he passed away, unfortunately, but he's a 4-time world champion of point fighting. He was very dynamic, very a talented martial artist. His name was Roberto Perez, and it was incredible. Like, he was so good, and with him I started like doing more dynamic, like more acrobatics. I was already kind of really into trying what you can't do, like challenging yourself all the time. It was more from combat and from sparring. Suddenly I start trying to like learn,
pushing your body.
Yeah, like, what it was like, you can fight whatever, but I cannot do this kick, for example. I cannot do this spin kick, or I can't do a backflip. Why? Like, so I got obsessed with this thing that I wanted, to really make my body do things that it couldn't do before. So I went to deep studying into how human body works and human physical performance, and how to enhance speed and how to enhance power. And back in the day, there was no, like I said, there was no YouTube, there was no access to a lot of information. So, and the only thing that I knew about Bruce Lee was his movie. Like, basically, there was no much information about him. So for me, it was difficult. Now, like, it was harder. Now you got access.
YouTube.
YouTube, that's it. You know everything you need to know to get it going. So it's pretty cool. So yeah, I start studying like high performance books of high athletes and like how the sprinters train, how the ping pong players play for the reflex or for speed, and I start trying to understand different sports and different abilities to be able to apply it to my training.
Mm-hmm.
So then my training became more as a personal improvement instead of just trying to analyze fighting and combat and all that. You know,
Mm-hmm.
it was transferring to that. So with Roberto Perez, that he was living in Mexico, much closer to the U.S., where they were having all these big tournaments of, you know, like the musical forms and, you know, like dynamic point fighting. So we became really good friends, and we start training together, and then we start trying like all these like 720s and butterfly twists and backflips and all this crazy stuff, and that's how really I got really into this acrobatic and this more like agile type of, you know, martial arts, you know.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome. It's amazing of you like thinking outside the box, like you mentioned, like ping pong and going into like other sports and seeing what you could like take from their training and stuff. Like that's really intelligent of you. There's like a really popular fighter right now. You probably heard of him, Conor McGregor. He's in the UFC, and he's big on like movement, you know, on a human body, like you described, and moving efficiently, and you know how to move his body. So that's really cool. So Marco, you mentioned Bruce Lee, but it doesn't even have to be in martial arts. But like, who are your inspirations in life? Like, it could be acting or martial arts.
Yeah, well, you know, Bruce Lee's been my big inspiration, man. He's just so strong that nobody else can come even close to how he affect my life and how he, you know, really being my mentor, inspiration. I don't know how you want to call it, but you know, it's just him, man. I don't have a big like someone that inspire me, or I admire a lot of people, and I really, you know, of their careers and their, but it's no like it's not like Bruce in the level of Bruce Lee. For me, it's like he was so powerful, you know, in my life that I will not put another name next to him, though.
Yeah, he definitely was one of a kind and amazing. For me, it was Bruce Lee. I grew up watching Van Damme movies, and like when I was training MMA, you know, I stumbled across you and like Scott Atkins, and you guys inspired me. Yeah, you guys definitely.
I know, I know what you're saying. Okay, so talking about movies, yeah, of course I watch Van Damme movies and Jackie Chan movies and all that, but you know, yeah, for me it was Bruce Lee really the overall, like, yeah, man, yeah, it's like it was so powerful. Yeah, suddenly when Van Damme came and started doing the splits and kicking, yeah, I got crazy to it, and this is something that I was very, very tight since I'm a kid. Like my hips were very like I was not able to kick a roundhouse kick to the stomach without warming up like an hour and stretch.
Wow.
I man, trust me.
Wow.
Trust me. I'm working on I want to upload a tutorial for stretching because I'm sure people will appreciate this. And you'll see I don't have the, you know, I'm not a flexible guy, you know, even now. But I could, you know,
That's
now
surprising. Not to cut you off, you look extremely flexible. You're like the way you move your bodies is like insane.
Yeah, well, but you know, like for example, I know people that without warming up, they do the splits all directions. You know, like front, side, whatever. Me, you know, I can if I warm up, yeah, I'm almost there, and I can, yeah, do the split with just one technique. You know, the front and the side and all that. But it's not like these guys that I know. Some friends that are like they just can hold their leg up there. You know, this is not just a genetic thing. It's like, it's not me, you know, but the way that how flexible I am right now, that I can kick basically at any height and I could, you know, pretty much have the technique that I have. I study about flexibility so much, man, because I was so tight. It was that
that's unbelievable.
The flexibility that I have is just because of hard work and understanding and trying different techniques, and really like it worked for me. So that's why I wanted to share it. And I've been looking the time to do it and put it in the YouTube. I've been uploading some stuff and, there's some diet stuff and tutorials and stuff like that. I'm looking forward. I really want to like do this because I know a lot of people can
benefit from it.
Benefit from it for sure, man, because it was the only way that I was able to get more flexibility. It's the only technique and the only type of training that really helped me out. So I'm gonna put it up there, soon.
Yeah, I think that'll be a great idea. A lot of people will tune into that. So Marko, so what opened the door for Hollywood for you? Like how did this whole thing happen?
Yeah, well, first I left my country, for like personal reasons. I was studying a career that I didn't like. Basically because making movies and being in movies is something that is not even, back then, it was not even a dream. Like it was impossible. Didn't exist. It was not a career possibility. It was not something that you even tried to do, right? My country. So I left my country for other reasons. I had a girlfriend in Mexico and I went, to visit her. Then the thing didn't work out. And I stayed in Mexico because I met a friend named Jose Luis Mosca. That is a martial artist and he's actor too, doing like soap operas and movies and stuff like that in Mexico. So when I met him and I saw that he was actually doing movies and working, I'm like, wow, this is something that is real,
Yeah.
It's like, this is something that I want to do this. So from that moment, I realized, I always follow my Bruce Lee and he was my inspiration, but he was Bruce Lee. He was a Hollywood star. It was something that is totally unreachable, something that it was not even possible to dream with. But the thing that I trained so hard and I didn't know for what. I was thinking, well, maybe I have to compete. Maybe, all this training is I'm going to dedicate to just compete in martial arts and be in tournaments and have a school. Or it was cool. I knew that my life was going to be related with martial arts somehow, But what happened was that when I arrived to Mexico and I met Jose Luis and I said, well, this is, he had a poster with kicking of a movie, a movie poster with him with a kick. I'm like, wow, it was so crazy. So I was like, so then I stay in Mexico and then I start working, in whatever, to try to stay there, to try to be there. And I became friend with him. Then he offered me to be a part of a movie that he was doing, like a low budget video home movie. And that's how I did my first movie, that it was like about Mexican mafia and video homes in Mexico, like no kicking, no nothing, but it was my first like time I think that I saw a camera, it's crazy. So it was from there, man, it never stopped. I was like, this is what I want to do. So then I needed to understand acting. So then I went to Televisa and they offered me, scholarship to study in the acting school of Televisa. And I studied there for a whole like year, in a intense workshop of acting and, learning how to deal with the cameras and all that. And people like it a lot, what I did and the way that I perform and all that. So they offered me a big opportunity there. But then I realized, Televisa is soap opera.
Yep.
So then I'm like, well, man, if I'm already here, I back to outside of my country and far, and I'm just going for it. I gotta be honest, and I gotta stay truth. And I'm not here to be an actor and to be soap opera. I want to do action. So that where I have to go is to LA, to Hollywood. I want to be there. I want to, try it. And I just, after I was already doing good in Mexico, kind of like, doing some modeling and commercials and try to work in whatever I can to just stay there. I was doing very good. and I had this big offer from Televisa to stay there and be, working in Televisa and making like soap operas. Then I said, I gotta say no. And I said, look, everybody thought that I was crazy. I was like, oh man, the offer that you were the only student that received this offer.
Yep.
And I'm like, yes, but, I don't want to be, I'm a martial artist. I love martial arts. That's what I want to do. In soap operas, it's not going to happen, So I left to LA and I arrived here and I start from zero again and start working in everything, waiter, dishwasher, whatever I could work to cover my bills and to be able to be here. And and suddenly I start training in different gyms until I got to a place where they were doing a lot of stunt people train from the stunt industry. And that's how I got my first job as a stuntman in the movie Hard as Nails of Roger Corman. And then also Andy Cheng saw me in this gym and he offered me to be the stunt double for The Rock. In the Rundown.
Oh, the Rundown. Yep. I knew that.
And that's how basically started for me. Then, I went back to Chile and I realized that, you know what, I don't want to do stunts because usually when you're a stuntman in a movie, sometimes the less you do is martial arts. You gotta fall, you do high falls, you do stuff like that, like different, like driving a car, running, doing like it's the craziest. Like the stunt world and the stunt industry is incredible industry and is a great industry. But as a martial artist, what I wanted to do is do my martial arts. You see, so sometimes you're in a movie and you're a 6 month or 3 month or 4 month working in a movie and you don't need to do a one kick. You don't need to do anything. So you just need to be there, walking, falling. So it's like, you know what? It's not what I want to do. So it was a beautiful experience. And I tried to learn as much as I could from Andy Cheng because Andy Cheng is a master, the guru of action and fighting and all that. Right hand side of Jackie Chan. It was an incredible experience. So I went back to Chile and with that little money that I got from the Rundown, I started, and I decided to do my first movie in Chile, Kiltro.
Which is a really awesome movie.
Oh, thank you, man. And I tried to apply everything that I've learned from Andy about how to deal with the action scenes, the rehearsals, the stunts. I did a big audition in my country to select like a team of like 10 guys that I could train and show them what is, to do martial arts in front of the camera. After all the experience that I got from Andy and working with him, I tried to mimic that, and that's how Kiltro came out.
That's crazy. It's crazy how in life you have like these like windows and opportunities that pop up, and you either have the guts to like take them or not. And the fact how you just like kind of uprooted your life and just went for it. I mean, that's amazing. And a lot of times like when you want to do something, like when you follow your gut, like I've experienced this also, like he said, people thought you were crazy for not taking that opportunity for like the Spanish like novelas and stuff. And but I know like you knew in your heart, what your path was, and it all worked out. That's pretty amazing. So, Marco, what's your favorite movie or like project you've worked on so far?
Wow, that's a tricky question, man. Because every movie and everything you do, especially when you're involved on, like, for example, my movies in Chile are like your child, man. Like you really like, there's such so much energy and memories that it's hard to like select them or qualify them. When you are part of the creation from the beginning, from all the process. But like my movies in Chile, it's very hard, because it's like they did so much for me in terms of experience, in terms of living beautiful moments, sharing with people, with kids. When for example, Mirage Man, we did all the advertisement of that movie. I was dressed as Mirageman and I was walking into different towns in my country, going to
That's
the roof of
awesome.
the building, and people were taking. So it's a beautiful connection with kids and with people. So each movie has such a great value, for me that
Mm-hmm.
it's the same here. The movie that I'm going to see today, I've never been into India.
Mm-hmm.
That was my first Bollywood movie. Beautiful experience.
Wow.
It's like I just, it's such a magic. So it's hard. It's hard to answer this. Oh, this is my favorite movie.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Now, as a character, if you ask me, I will better answer you this.
Mm-hmm.
I really like the character of Solo of the series From Dusk Till Dawn, man.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
If you ask me,
Awesome.
okay, this is a good question. What character would you like to develop, like more movies or a series or a continuation? I think,
Like a spin-off?
oh my God, man, Solo, you're gonna see this character, man. He's such a cool character, man.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And of course, working with Robert, he flew in, to direct and to shoot my episode, the one that my character was all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just epic, man. Imagine working with Robert, someone that you admired.
Oh, he's
And
so talented.
yeah, and he was the one that actually we studied with my friend in Chile to do our low budget movies in Chile because we were all about, okay, if we want to do this, we gotta learn how to do everything. We just cannot be. We need, and then we studied El Mariachi. We study his career, and well,
Mm-hmm.
my friend director is a big fan of Robert. He means, he's very like he's a cool director that follow his footsteps. So
Mm-hmm.
imagine after many many years, doing a awesome fucking character, man. being directed being directed by him, it's just incredible, man.
Mm-hmm.
It just I'm
So
so happy that this just happened though. So I'm so
yeah.
looking forward to see those episodes and
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
hopefully, who knows, continue doing more stuff with the character.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome, Marco. I'm really happy for you. This is I have a question for you, and I would love to see you involved with this. So, would you like to be involved with any Marvel films, Marvel Disney? Because like Avengers and all these superhero films are so huge right now, and I think you would fit perfectly.
Mhm. Yeah, well, you know what? It's of course everything that comes that is part of a project where there's physicality, martial arts, and you can like share with people all that. It's nice, But like I said, it's like I'm in a moment right now, man, that I don't know if you can understand this, but I'm so happy, man. I'm so thankful. I'm so grateful of what's going on with me right now, and
Mm-hmm.
and I'm just enjoying it, and I'm just trying to be don't fall into that asking for more all the time,
Mm-hmm.
trying to like wish and wish this and wish that. And I'm trying not to fall in that because that's when you stop appreciating things. And that's when you stop really enjoying what you have and doing everything with passion. You see,
Mm-hmm.
right now, what I have really, what I'm doing really, I just finished this series. It's a live character, or what I can say that the character, he don't die. I'm not gonna say anything else. So there is a million opportunities of that character to stay alive on the world of El Rey Network and Robert's world.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a beautiful character. Like when you see that character, you're gonna understand the way that he looks and all that is like a barbarian, is a jaguar warrior,
Mm-hmm.
Aztec jaguar warrior that trains in hell, and he's have a code of honor that he
Mm-hmm.
respects, and it's such a spiritual and such a cool character that
Mm-hmm.
it's like I'm so thankful and happy for it. Then
Mm-hmm.
another thing that I'm doing another movie with Scott. I'm finishing shooting right now. Next week is our last days.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm doing, having this great experience with this great director, Jesse Johnson, that we're doing, that I'm like kind of like the lead of the movie with Scott, and
Mm-hmm.
such a different character I was able to do before. So I'm so happy, man. And yes, of course, like of course, Marvel is huge and the superhero movies are crazy. It's like, of course, I would love to be part of that, but I don't want to get it. I don't want to put it in the top of my head saying, oh, this is my priority. And if I don't do that, I'm not going to accomplish anything or, don't get too crazy about it. It's just, if it happens, I'm ready, man, and I'll do my best like I always do. I always try to give my 100% in everything that I am and put all the passion and the heart on it.
That's an awesome mindset, that you're sharing with the fans and everything, and like kind of like the key to happiness, like you said, like living in a moment and enjoying what you have and not worried about what everybody else is doing. So,
yeah, because you become slave of what you really wish for. And what you really, at the end, man, this is so crazy. It's like nobody can guarantee us anything. We live life, and we've been told to live life thinking that we're never gonna die, thinking that we have the life guaranteed, and this is not true. We can, we never know what could happen to anybody. Like it's crazy. So when you really think about this, and not just think as if yeah, this is the typical thing. No. Like, just stop for a moment and think about this. Then when you really do this, your decisions in life start changing, and you start making different decisions from a different part of yourself. Not from your mind, because we are not our mind. We're not just our mind. And our mind will make us make decisions that it's based on what we see in TV, is based on what we will learn when we were kids, is based on maybe traumas, on fears. So basically, the decisions that we're making all the time are based on all this influence, are based on, things that happens, and then we just don't want to repeat the same thing that happened. But it's not really that. Our mind is always trying to put fear in our decisions. It's always trying to how to say, when interrupt the process of listen to yourself, or to who you really are. And that's all this happens when you start understanding that the only real thing is now, and is the present, and that we're gonna die, and we really gonna die in any moment. And when we understand this, is different. Everything changes. You see. So for me, that's why it's like, well, man, if it didn't happen, it was because it was not meant for me, and that's it. And move on and just enjoy what you have. You see. It's that, man. It's like, it's hard today because we've been sold on what is success. Oh yeah, I want to be successful. Successful means to have this, to have a house and a car, and change your car every year.
It's an illusion.
Huh?
It's all like an illusion.
It's an illusion. It's an illusion, and they sell us this very good since we're kids. You see the kids, the advertisements in the kids when they put them watch TV, they set their minds up for that, and that's not success. And unfortunately, people will not understand this until there, and they feel miserable having money and without having money. They feel the same miserable having the big house, the cars, and everything that they thought that once they get it, they're gonna be happy, and they're not happy. And now and unfortunately they lost all their life trying to collect all these things, thinking, and they lost their life because you don't buy with money. You buy with the life that it took you to make that money to buy the things. So at the end is, what do you want to spend your life? How you want to spend your life? So yes, I'm not saying no, money is bad. I'm saying you don't want to get tricked into this thing, and you want to use this money and these elements that we're given in life to help for you to be happier, to have the basics. We all want. I'm not saying go to a woods and just meditate or whatever. I'm not. I'm I'm against that. I'm just saying, you don't need as much as you think, as much as they make you think. You just do everything you can to have the basics you need to be happy and to have time to enjoy, to do what you love to do. That's the most important thing. And that's what's going to make you happy. That's the thing that I can say,
Yeah, I have a similar mindset, Marco. Because I always say, like, if you chase material things or money, like, someone's always gonna have a nicer car, someone's always gonna have a bigger house, someone's always gonna have a bigger bank account. Like, success to me is like, achieving your personal goals, and if you're doing what you love and what you're passionate about, and spending time with family and loved ones. So I'm on the same page as you. I try not to think about what everybody else is doing, even like with working out and fitness, like, I'm big into fitness, and, I do what I'm capable of, and I'm happy with myself. And if somebody, can deadlift 1,000 pounds, great for them. I'm really happy for them. But like, I personally don't focus on other people. I focus on myself. So I agree with you 100%.
Exactly, man. And this way, that's why also for me, competition, I'm a very competitive person, I realize, but it's a competition against myself, you see. And every time that pass by, I'm like, I start to understand, like, competition sometimes is why someone have to lose and someone have to win. Like, we can all win. We can all help each other. We can all have, a good experience in this life. It's not like, oh, you cannot shine because I'm not going to shine if you shine. It's, I see this a lot, and it's not like that. It's just not, we cannot control that. If it's my turn to do stuff and to work or whatever, that doesn't mean that it's not going to be yours. You see, it's like, and this applies for everything. So,
yep. One thing that I've learned also, Marco, is like everybody like has their gifts, and like physically, like some people are going to be better swimmers, and maybe somebody's a better swimmer than you, but maybe you're a better climber. Maybe you run further. So that's another thing.
Yeah, and it's because we're unique. You gotta understand, each of us is unique and has a special, uniqueness since we're born, and that is us. That will make us different of if not every martial artist that do a roundhouse kick will be the same. No, because the way I do roundhouse kick is different than the way that the other guy do roundhouse kick. That make me unique. Like, maybe I don't do I don't know, a hook kick, but I do outside crescent kick, and my kick is gonna be different. The way, I look different. It's, you gotta understand that each of us is unique, and you gotta believe this. And that uniqueness is such a powerful.
It's beautiful too.
It's beautiful. That exactly. And you gotta understand, and you gotta learn how to appreciate that.
So Marco, we're like past the 30-minute mark, and I don't want to take too much more of your time. But lastly, just one more question. Do you have any message for your fans out there, and anything they should look out for, like projects?
Yeah, well, I have, I'm doing this movie I'll tell them about my last stuff that is coming out. I just did a movie named The Green Ghost, that is an American movie that I have a really good fight scene with Cain Velasquez and with Andy Cheng.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, that's pretty
former UFC heavyweight champ. That's awesome.
Yeah, that's cool. It's it's a family movie, very cool. Then, you can't miss From Dusk Till Dawn, my character Solo. It's gonna start, I think, in September. Invite them to see Sultan, the movie that I did in Bollywood that it just released now. And of course, I'm looking forward. We've done some great stuff in this last movie, Savage Dog, with Scott Adkins. So it's me versus Scott, number 2.
You and Scott, that's a winning team right there, man. Because Undisputed 3, like, that movie blew me away. And I always tell people, because I'm a big movie guy, and I say, you want to see one of the best fighting action movies ever? Undisputed 3.
Wow, that's cool. This is different because it's a timepiece, so the style of fighting is totally different. Like, there's some weapons, it's different. I'm not saying bad, worse, or better, but I'm saying it's really different, so people will really enjoy it. the characters, the time, everything is such a different project. So I'm really looking forward for it. It's a very cool character that I have, and Jesse's been really cool to work with him. So yeah, man, and that's it. And also, well, we don't have like you said, much time, unfortunately, but if people are listening, they should look also into nutrition. I think it's goes hand in hand with performance. It's very important, to have to eat good, to recover and all that is very, very important. I'm really into nutrition too. So maybe another day, if you have time, we can talk about it.